So the council meeting of November 16th, 2021 is now called to order. Councilmember Feast, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And Donna, will you please call the roll?
Yes, I will. Councilmember Feast.
Here.
Councilmember Inesco.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember McDowell.
Present.
And Councilmember Bode.
Here.
And Mayor Dorsey is absent.
And can I have a motion, please, to excuse Mayor Dorsey from this evening's meeting?
I move to excuse Mayor Dorsey from this meeting, November 16th, 2021.
Is there a second? Thank you, Councilmember Feast. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, does council have any late changes to the agenda?
And Deputy Mayor, I would like to propose again a small late change, not to any of the items, but to the order. And that would be item number 3 moved up to item number 2, so that the items flow together, the revenue piece and then the vote on the revenue piece after the close of the public hearing, and then the 2022 budget, and then the vote on the 2022 budget after the close of the public hearing.
Yes. Is there any concern from council about reordering the agenda? Okay, seeing consensus to make the change, we will do so. At this time, I would like to remind members of the public that they can make comments during the public comment period, as well as any items listed on the business agenda or the action agenda. When making a public comment, you will need to raise your hand electronically on the Zoom app, state your full name and whether you reside within the city limits in Mason County or reside elsewhere. You may join the Zoom link on the city's webpage. The link is listed on the agendas and minutes page under the tab that says more. You may also email City Manager Jeff Knighton or call Jeff's office phone. Both his email address and phone number are displayed on the screen of Mason's Web TV streaming video. At this time, I'll call for any council reports. Do any council members have anything to share? Councilmember McDowell?
It's not really a council report. It's just a little blurb on the movie that was at our local theater the other night, Hunting Bigfoot. And it was a documentary, and it was produced by we met him, and it was very interesting. And I have a comment to make about the next time we have something like that in our town, in our city. I'd like to see more of it. It was very, very interesting. So that's where I am.
Thank you. Any other council reports? All right, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as it has been published?
I move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilmember McDowell. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as published. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Donna, do we have anyone interested in making public comment this evening?
Let me take a look here, Deputy Mayor. I don't see anyone with their hand raised electronically or otherwise.
Thank you very much. With that, we will move on to our business agenda for this evening. Public Works Director Jay Harris has information for us about the purchase of water meter boxes and lids. Director Harris.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jay Harris, your Public Works Director. So in June, Council adopted Resolution 1201-0521, authorizing the purchase of census water meters from Ferguson Water Works. We purchased the meters and the transmitters for the AMI project. And those meters are still on order. We're waiting for delivery. There's a chip shortage, and so we're having issues getting that order fulfilled. At that meeting, I had mentioned we have several other things that need to be completed. One would be the meter boxes and lids, and I'll be speaking with you about that tonight. And then finally, we need to hire a contractor to put them all in. So as to meter boxes and lid, you have a agenda item in front of you this evening to authorize the purchase of the meter boxes and lids for the project. The new meters require holes in the lids because we have a little transmitter puck. Councilor McDowell, I think I showed you a picture of one some time ago. And then also the boxes are a little small that we have right now, and we have to upgrade a bunch of them just so we can get the new transmitters and parts and that sort of thing in. So prior to this agenda briefing, it got into your packet. We went out to bid. So last Wednesday, we opened bids and we received 2 bids for the meter boxes and lids. One was from HD Fowler in the amount of $453,616, and another one from Ferguson Waterworks for $451,805. So the bids were really close. Ferguson Waterworks is the apparent low bidder at the $451,805. And we will be coming back to council at your December 7th meeting with a resolution noting Ferguson Waterworks as low bidder at $451,805. And so then the last step is to get a contractor going on the project and to actually install the meters. We are waiting until we know when the boxes and the meters and the transmitters are all going to be here. Ferguson, obviously, we bought all the meter parts from them, and we're also getting all the boxes from them. So now we have at least one contractor or one supplier that we're getting all the materials from, which is actually really good news. We've been in communication with them, and so we hope to get everything delivered hopefully in the coming 3 to 4 months. It could go out to June. They're having issues, not with the meters, but with the boxes right now. So I'll keep you guys updated on the progress of the materials for this project. So I'm recommending that you place this item for the resolution on the December 7th council meeting. And that's the end of the staff report.
Thank you so much, Director Harris. Do we have any public comments, Donna?
Look here. No, there is no public comments, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Before we take council questions or comments, do we have a motion?
I move to place this item, including the addition of a resolution on the December 7th council meeting action agenda for further consideration.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Vogt. There's a first and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Onisco, I see your hand raised.
I just had a question. Are the boxes and lids part of the 1.7 million, or is that on top of the 1.7 million?
Yeah, so the total project costs, I don't have my council sheet in front of me. It's in the budget, we have the 1.7 million, but we add in the meters that we purchased this year under a purchase order. And so we're spending, the total project cost is somewhere around 2.3 million, if I recall. I'll send you guys an email with the project sheet once we're done with the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, it's a multi-year budgeted project. So you're looking at each year's budget, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Oh, I remember the 1.7. I just didn't know if this 429 or now the 451 was on top of the $1.7 million.
No, it's included in the total budget of the project. And let me get out in the, I'll I'll have to go look at your budget presentation, but I think the total project cost is actually in the 2022 budget. But I'll follow up with an email to you guys to get that straightened out, so you have the total project costs.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
And Councilmember Feast.
It's kind of an overall observation kind of question, and that has to do with inflation. So Jay, you would let us know that not only were we facing chip shortages, but also potential inflation costs on some of this as it came in. So just to, we all know that it's happening. We all are in the middle of it. And, as we're looking at budget and budget, overrun costs and things like that. I know that this is my last meeting as a council member, but I encourage the rest of the council members to, be mindful and thoughtful about what that's going to look like and the impacts to our budget going forward. Because I'm just doing really rough math, and what is that, like a 2.5% inflation cost on that, something like that?
Yes, Counselor. So inflation is a consideration. The good news is the price on these boxes hadn't gone up a ton from our preliminary estimates in June. So that we did prior to our budget submittals, which is the good news. Also, we're buying them ahead of the contractor. There is a lot of projects that the materials are, like paving, for example, is included with the contractor's price, right? So buying these materials now is good, and we're waiting for them, and not a contractor that we signed a contract with, and then we wait for them and can be subject to material escalation. So we have locked in this price for the meters, the transmitters, and for the meter boxes now. So in terms of final materials for the project, we'll have asphalt, concrete, some rock, that sort of thing, but they're actually minor to the whole project. And then we also have the contractor's bid, so we also have a shortage of equipment and manpower, right? And so we'll see how we fare on that one, but we do need to get all these materials delivered to us, or know when we're going to have them prior to us going to bid for the construction portion of it.
And Councilmember Onisco, you had a
Jay, is this going to correct some of the sunken boxes that we have around the city that were they're kind of sunken, like they're like a trip hazard? Because I was on a walk last week. I have a picture of it. I actually forgot where I took it though, where there was the cement was kind of sunk and it had a big lip on it, so somebody could trip on it walking.
Yes, the boxes, and most of them are going to get new lids, and many of them are going to get new boxes. In those locations, the sidewalk panel will actually be replaced as part of the bid too. And we're going to integrate the meter in the walk. The reason why the meters were put in the walk in the first place is because we had to open every lid to read them, and you could find them when there's concrete around them. Our standard is to actually put the meter behind the walk, our new standard. So all new meters go behind the walk. It's difficult to move water meters at this point. You can do it, but you have to, it's called freeze the connection. And so they got a device where they take the copper tube to the meter and you freeze that service, solder on a new piece, extend it to the back of walk, put in a new meter set, put in the new box. We're probably not going to do that, but we are going to put in new boxes, new lids. The puck is going to be recessed down in the lid also, so it's not a tripping hazard, the antenna. And then we're going to pour new concrete around the whole thing. So they should be significantly better than the existing situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doesn't appear we have any other questions from the council. And so with that, I will call the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director Harris.
You're welcome.
We will, let me pop on here. We are recessing from our regular meeting to open a public hearing. The first item in our public hearing, and please, City Manager Knighton, correct me if I'm wrong, will be to hear from Don Quizme about the second supplemental to the 2021 budget.
That is accurate. However, Don was unable to join us tonight. So we'll have interim finance director Terry Schnitzer present that for council consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and council members. Tonight I bring you the 2021 supplemental budget number 2. This will allow us to increase our budget authority across all the funds so that we stay within our lawful limits. And so if I can direct your attention to the Exhibit A, and to meet our goal for council and for staff, the goals of transparency and clear records. Back a couple months ago, finance had brought to you that we were taking a really good look at our special revenue accounts, our TIF, our TBD, our REIT 1, REIT 2, and we had to do some cleanup. And when we did that cleanup, we came to the conclusion that the general fund needs to transfer back into the street fund the $808,000 because the TBD money that we collected landed in the street fund. And so in the transparency piece, we are transferring that TBD money, the revenue out of that and into the capital resource fund that we have created just for the TBD, so that it is a transparent record of revenue for this fund. And so in doing so, we need to pay back the street fund and for the operations of street of that $808,000. Then we move down to the general fund, and then most of them, the rest of them are just transfers. These are just transferring these special revenues. The $160,340 for the general fund transfer to capital improvement. This was goes back to the Mason Transit Authority parking lot project, where the revenue that Mason Transit paid back to the city for those costs went to the general fund and not into the capital improvement fund. So we are correcting this. So it's just a transfer of that revenue from 2020. Then the next one is the $225,000, which is a general fund transfer to capital resource fund. And we call it general. So it's general because it's not the TBD, TIF, REIT 1, REIT 2. So we're just calling it a general for right now. And but this was something that was budgeted in 2020. That was a transfer from the capital resources fund, but it wasn't budgeted within the general fund. So we're correcting that. And that was for the Civic Center parking lot, the cargo van, and the general portion of the facility expansion project. And then we have $226,360 from the street fund to the capital improvement fund. And this is transferring the TBD revenue cost for the Basin 3 sidewalk project portion and the overlay. So TBD was paying for those projects for that portion. Then we have $550,310 from the street fund transfer to the capital resource TBD fund. This is once we have done all the work to determine what these balances are, we are now transferring those for the transparency purposes to just the capital resource TBD fund, so that we know what's coming in for TBD money and then what projects are going out that the TBD money is paying for. And then we have $145,000 from the capital improvement fund to the street fund. in 2021, when the budget was prepared for 2021, finance didn't have the chip seal projects considered as maintenance. We do have those considered as maintenance projects now. So because it was budgeted in the capital improvement fund, and all the costs were paid out of the street fund because it's maintenance, we now need to transfer that budget to the street fund so that we are within the budget authority there. The next one is 72,500 from capital improvement fund to the capital resource REIT 1. Again, this is the balance that we've determined for REIT 1 to go to the capital resource REIT 1 fund, to be very transparent as to what comes into that fund and what will go out as to be paid by REIT 1 dollars. The next one is 67,510. Same thing, it's for REIT 2. This is the balance that we've determined, and that will go into the capital resource REIT 2. The next one, and I apologize that mine's not correct, but the money is the 722,500. This is a capital improvement fund transfer to the capital resource TIF. Again, this is the balance of the TIF money that we determined was correct, and moving it to just the fund itself to determine what projects will be paid out of TIF. That will be, the money will be transferred into the, or goes directly into that fund, and then what projects will be paid by that TIF dollars. And then last three are just you. In previous months, we have created the water, sewer, and storm capital funds. So in 2021, all of that budget is currently in operations of the water. We are transferring what you have approved as capital, transferring that budget to these new capital funds for the water, sewer, and storm. And with all that, that is this is how it makes up for the budget number 2. And so I'm just asking if you can move it to the December 7th meeting on the action agenda.
Thank you very much, Terry. Donna, have we had anyone sign up for public testimony on this item?
Let me take a look here. No, we do not.
In that case, we ask you for a reading of ordinance 1981-1021.
Ordinance number 1981-1021, an ordinance of the city of Shelton, Washington, amending the annual budget for the year ending December 31st, 2021.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move that we forward ordinance number 1981-1021 to the December 7th council meeting for further consideration.
Thank you, Councilmember Onisto. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you, Councilmember McDowell. We have a motion and a second. Do any council members have questions or would like to make a statement at this time? All right, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, with that, we will move, the public hearing is closed and we'll open another public hearing regarding the regular and ad valorem taxes. So Interim Director Schnitzer, it's back to you here to share with us about the 2022 regular and ad valorem taxes.
Thank you again. Tonight I bring you the 2022 regular city and EMS ad valorem taxes. This ordinance increases property tax by 1% of the highest lawful levy, and it allows for new construction. So for 2022, we have almost 2.2 million property tax, which is an increase of 38,000 over for 2021, and the EMS property tax is at 335,000, and just an increase of almost 5.9 or $5,866. And there has not been any changes since the last time we brought it to you in October.
Anna, do we have any public testimony for this item?
Here. No, we do not, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, do we have a motion? I would entertain a motion to consider this ordinance as presented after the public hearing has been completed.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, council members Schmidt and Bode.
And then
Questions or
Deputy-
comments? Sorry, any other comments from the council?
I just have one quick question for Terry. Terry, exactly how much would that be? I didn't get that number.
For the city EMS,
Yes,
so the total regular property tax is 2,194,000 or $2,194,637.25, which is $38,423 over 2021.
you said 38,000 or 330,000?
38,000.
38, okay. Well, I really hadn't. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And do we need a reading of this ordinance?
So if you, Deputy Mayor, if you could close the public hearing. I don't believe we have any public comment. And then we can read the ordinance and council can vote.
There is a motion on the table, so we'll need to go ahead and call the vote on that. So there's a motion on the table to consider this ordinance as presented as soon as this public hearing has been concluded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, we will close the public hearing and resume our regular meeting to consider ordinance number 1978-1021. And I believe that goes back to you, Terry, if there's anything else you'd like to add.
No, there's nothing more to add.
Okay, and any public comment during the public meeting?
No, there isn't, Deputy Mayor.
Seeing none, Donna, would you please provide us with a reading of ordinance 1978-1021?
Yes. Ordinance number 1978-1021, an ordinance of the city of Shelton, the amount of the annual ad valorem taxes in the city of Shelton for calendar year 2022.
And do we have a motion? I would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 1978-1021, setting the regular and EMS levies for 2022.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Schmidt. And is there a second? Thank you, Councilmember Feast. So any questions or comments from council? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 1978-1021, setting the regular EMS levies for 2022. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. And with that, we will reopen a public hearing for the 2022 proposed budget, presented again by Interim Finance Director Terry Schnitzer.
Thank you again. So I bring you this ordinance for this 2022 budget. We brought to you back in October. We've made a few changes since then. And those changes come from just reallocating an FTE, which we originally had in the enterprise funds, and we're moving that to the general fund. And that is so that we can allocate those that employee through our indirect cost rate study, which will be easier to allocate those costs to. those funds. And then we have increased our general fund by the 21,260. That is due to the 2-year audit that we will have in 2022, that we were given notice from the Washington State Auditor's Office because they are not auditing this year. So therefore, we need to increase the budget for that in 2022. There was some minor adjustments for the labor and industry rates across the employees. So we just needed to clean that up. Then we had the, when it comes to the capital resources, we are just reallocating those dollars back down to the REIT 1, TBD, and TIF, so it's more transparent. Then 150,000, we are decreasing that expense because we are no longer interested in purchasing any property at the Loop Field. And the $40,000 we are decreasing in the general fund also because we will not be doing the parks impact fee study. And we will asking council to increase the general fund 204,710, and that is due to the cleanup of the TBD money coming out of the street fund. And so this will help with the beginning balances for 2022. Then we have increased the general fund by 300,000, and this is to help start up for the ER&R fund if we choose to go that way. The 57,000 is the payments that we need to make to the Central Mason Fire for the fire engine that was just purchased, which wasn't included in before. And then the last one is the increase that the tourism fund has requested. And so with that, we had a total of the general fund being 15,685,430, which is an increase of $587,650 from previous meeting that we had with you bringing the budget. And other than that, there were no other changes than those. Any questions?
Thank you, Director Schnitzer. Have we had anyone else sign up for public testimony, Ms. Donna?
There is not, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. In that case, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance number 1979-1021 and adopt the 2022 budget as presented.
Second.
And as a friendly amendment, that would be following this public hearing.
And following this public hearing.
Great. And Councilmember Onisco, you agree to that friendly amendment?
I'm sorry?
You agree to that friendly amendment that will consider
Yes.
after the public hearing is completed?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. In that case, do we have any comments or questions from council?
Nope.
In that case, we have a motion and a second to consider this ordinance as it's been presented following this public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This public hearing is closed. We will resume the regular meeting, which again is back to Terry for the 2022 budget. And do we have any public comment during the regular meeting, Ms. Donna?
I don't think so, but let me take a look here. No, there isn't.
In that case, may I please have a reading of ordinance 1979-1021.
Ordinance number 1979-1021, an ordinance of the city of Shelton, Washington, adopting the budget for calendar year 2022.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance number 1979-1021 to adopt the 2022 budget as presented.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Schmidt. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Anisco. Are there any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries. All right, with that, I believe we have completed our finance portion of this evening. Thank you to staff for working through that with us, and we will move on to our Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement presented by City Engineer Ken Gill.
Good evening, counselors. It's good to see all of you. Today, we're going to talk about our Olympic region projects, their project agreements that allows WashDOT to look over our shoulder and make sure that we're dotting all our I's and crossing all the T's with their money. So just quickly going to share my screen. You should see a map that has 3 projects in blue squares. They're flashing beacons at 3 locations through the city. And you also will see a red line that has shows repaving Brockdale from Wallace Nealon to the Bastogne Cutoff. After we sign and move these, they'll go to WashDOT for signature, and we'll continue marching down the road to build those projects. The Safe Routes to School one will be built early spring. The Brockdale one will probably wait till we have really favorable paving weather this summer. So that completes my presentation. Do you guys have any other questions?
Before we move on to questions from council, do we have any public comments, Donna?
No, there's no public comment, Deputy Mayor.
At this time, then could I please have a reading of resolution 1216-1021 and resolution 1217-1021.
I move to adopt. Oh,
Just one moment, Councilmember. We need a reading of the resolutions first.
okay.
Resolution number 1216-1021, a resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, approving the Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement for Safe Routes to School, crosswalk improvements, and authorizing the city manager to sign the Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement. Boy, that was a long one, Mr. Ken Gill. Now let's see, the next one is almost the same. Resolution number 1217-1021, a resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, approving the Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement for Brockdale Road overlay from Wallace Nealon to Bastogne Cutoff Road, and authorizing the city manager to sign the Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement.
Thank you very much, Ms. Donna.
You're welcome.
All right, now do we have a motion?
I move to adopt resolution number 1216-1021 and resolution number 1217-1021 as presented.
Thank you, Councilmember Onisco. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Bode, I think I heard you first on that one. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution number 1216-1021 and resolution number 1217-1021 as presented, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Gill. We are back to you for another item, so I'll lend that back to you.
Thank you again, council. This is your Civic Center parking lot. So last time I presented this to you, I had a couple questions from council. One was, why'd you move the basketball court? And the other one is, what are we gonna do for tie downs? So I dug into our archives, our senior staff that were here before I showed up. and found a drawing that actually had it exactly where council described it. So, and the response I got from Director Ziegler is that we moved it to the east part of the parking lot to allow more parking spots for our first responders, you know, the PD, MACOM, those folks, so they could be closer to the building and be able to respond. So the other question I got was on tie downs and how will they work with the blocks, you know, the permeable block. Don't have an answer for that yet, but I'm basically I'll probably be out trotting out 5-gallon buckets with some rebar and hooks so that folks who want to put a tent up there can put out there whenever they want. So in any location, rather than being held down to a certain location. So thank you for your patience with this project. And that concludes my presentation. I will answer any questions that you have.
Okay, before we take comments and questions from council, do we have any public comments this evening, Donna?
No, we don't, Deputy Mayor.
Okay. Case, would you please give us a resolution of a reading of resolution number 1218-1021?
Yes. Resolution number 1218-1021, a resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, approving additional scope from Transpo Group to complete design of the West Coda Street parking lot and authorizing the city manager to sign the work order amendment number 2 and on-call engineering contract amendment number 2.
Next, do we have a motion? I would entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 1218 as presented.
I move to adopt resolution 1218-1021 as presented.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Schmidt, I think you had that one. All right, now do we have comments and questions from council? Councilmember McDowell, I think I saw your hand raised.
And it's all I have to say on this one is yay, it's gonna get done. Thank you.
Matt,
Any other comments from council? Councilmember Onisco.
I'd like to see that drawing again. I'm a little confused now on the parking and where the tennis court's going to be, or I'm sorry, the basketball hoops are going to be. So they're going to be on
Civic Center
on
side.
this. They're going to be on the Civic Center side
Oh,
by
sorry,
the
no.
police station. So we're going to have cars
No, I misspoke, excuse me.
going.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ken Gill, but originally it was slated to have the basketball court at the Civic Center side of the parking lot. It's now been moved down to 4th Street at the east end of the property. Is that correct?
Right.
yep.
So and there'll be like a driveway where the cars come down and park.
Mhm.
And will that be fenced off from
Yeah.
kids and basketballs flying in the driveway?
Councilmember Onesco, let me show you what I
Yeah,
I like
presented to you
to-
last time. So
Yeah, I remember
there's,
seeing it last time, but
there's our drawing that we're planning to build. So you'll come in off of 4th Street, the basketball court, pickleball
Mr.
court.
Gill, you're
over there
not
on your
actually
right.
sharing your screen just yet.
Oh, darn.
And while
Oh.
you're pulling that up, if you don't mind, I'll ask a question as well. Do we have any concern about the existing parking agreement we have and how that's going to impact the number of spaces if in fact the basketball courts are placed at the east end near 4th Street? That's typically the leased out portion of our parking area. Are there any concerns about that existing agreement or how that might impact the project?
So the question I heard was, will this affect any parking agreements that we have? And I'm not aware of any parking agreements that we have, but I certainly can research that. I know that we share it with the church when we're not using it, and it's used quite a bit.
Right.
I don't know of any formal agreements we have, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any. So I certainly can research that and get back to you on any agreements that we have.
And
Yeah.
perhaps Manager Knighton can speak to that.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, we do have a parking agreement with First Baptist Church across Coda Street. Been in place since the early 90s. We have worked with them. This will actually provide a few more spaces than what we currently have if everybody parks the way a typical parking lot would work instead of what exists there now. I don't believe it'll have any reduction in the amount of parking, and I think that Our partners would agree that this is a well-loved project and something that everybody's looking forward to seeing completed.
Thank you. Councilmember, now that the drawings up on the board, did you have a question or a comment for Mr. Gill?
Well, he was going to explain it, I thought. I'm
Okay.
just wondering, is that going to be fenced off, the basketball hoops, or will their balls be like rolling into the driveways or parking lot or in the street?
So the question I heard is the basketball court going to be fenced off? And I wasn't planning to do it. You've got grass and shrubs and landscaping all around it. So I guess if you're a really bad shot like mine, you may need to put some fences up, but we weren't planning any fencing. Going back to the agreement with the church, thank you for letting me know about that, but this design will improve their access to it because it gets them access onto CODA, allows them to access it off CODA where they don't have that now. So.
And Councilmember Onusko, with all the landscaping surrounding the basketball court, we don't think that there's very little opportunity for a basketball to either get into CODA Street or into Fourth or the alley. And unless somebody intentionally tried to do it, which a fence wouldn't stop anyway.
You haven't seen me play basketball. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council? Okay, I will say I am a little disappointed to see the basketball court move down to Fourth, just because we do still own the property further south, nearest the Civic Center. And I know there was some conversation about tying in that basketball section into that additional property for park space. So I think there might be an opportunity that we're missing there. But that being said, that is not a mountain I'm willing to die on. This is very much a project that has been waiting for some time, and I appreciate all the hard work that staff has put into and the community with helping to fund some of the portions of this project as well. Any last comments? Seeing none, thank you so much, Mr. Gill. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 1218-1021 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, our next item this evening is from Community Development Director Mark Ziegler on the Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery. And I cannot hear Mark. Can anyone else hear him?
I can't either.
I don't see a mute button, Mr. Ziegler, but I don't hear your lovely voice. Oh.
Yeah. You can come down here, Mark, if you want.
All right.
Or Mark, if you just adjust your audio.
Yeah, he's on his way down here. In the meantime,
It's a short walk.
yeah, we did have a community member that missed the opportunity to make a public comment earlier, and I would just ask council to add other.
We had this problem before.
Oh, there he is.
Before Mark
right.
begins, do we have any is there consensus from council to add an additional public comment period prior to the director's report this evening? Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. With that, then we will go back to Director Ziegler, who is named Ken Gill, but we know who you are.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Ziegler. It's to you.
Absolutely. I'm just renting Ken's space here for a minute. So I'm pleased to bring to you tonight the Shelton Arts Commission's latest recommendations for the Shelton Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery. We had 6 artists apply for the gallery. 5 artists have been selected, a total of 21 pieces, both 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. So we'll have some pieces up in the case at the top of the stairs with your approval. And again, with your approval, November 30th with the installation date, and they'd be up through the end of February. And staff is requesting approval tonight from the council.
Do we have any public comments this evening, Donna, on this item?
No, we don't, Deputy Mayor.
In that case, I would entertain a motion to waive the free touch rule and approve the Shelton Arts Commission's recommendations for placement in the Civic Center's rotating art.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember. Spies. Is there a second from Councilmember? Spies?
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Rather have two than none at all. All right.
Excuse me, Deputy Mayor, who was the second from?
Councilmember Feast.
It's been a challenge this evening. Thank you.
I've been,
No problem.
been cutting out tonight, so.
All right. We do have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Shelton Arts Commission's recommendations for placement in the Civic Center Art Gallery, say aye.
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 Opposed? Seeing none, motion. Thank you so much, Director Ziegler. Our last action item this evening is the LTAC grant recommendations, and that is to you, City Manager Knighton.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, members of council. Tonight we have the second reading of the LTAC grant recommendations that was brought to you a little bit earlier in this year. And the LTAC Lodging Tax Advisory Committee took a look at their previous recommendations and modified them slightly. And you can see in the staff report the difference of what was requested and what was awarded. And the direction at this point was to grant full dollar amounts for each requester to provide events and community activities for those in our community, and hopefully those from far away that wish to travel to see us. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any, and we can move forward from there.
And before we take comments and questions from council, any public comments this evening?
No, there aren't, Deputy Mayor.
And I need to recuse myself from this vote. So who would be the most appropriate person to take over at this point?
I think Councilmember Onesco, because he's serving as the president of the Shelton Municipal Parks District Board.
Perfect. So I am going to recuse myself from this, stop my video, and pop off if Donna or Jeff will let me know when you're ready for me to rejoin the meeting. Councilmember Onesco, if you'd be willing to take over, please.
All right. So do we have a motion to approve the LTAC Tourism Fund Grant Award as presented?
I move to approve the LTAC Tourism Fund Grant Awards as presented.
I
Second.
second it.
Oh, there's a motion and a second.
Yeah,
All in
second.
favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, I will ask Deputy Mayor to come back to the meeting.
Speedy.
Oh, there you are. Okay, good.
I beat you to it.
Text said
You did.
rejoin, so you were right on that. At this point, we have decided to add another public comment period. So at this time, Donna, is there anyone who wishes to make a public comment?
Yes, we have Cappy Shapiro, who would like to make a public comment. And Cappy, once you start, I will start the timer for 3 minutes.
Cool, thank you. I'm Cappy Shapiro. I live and work in Shelton. I am on the Mason County Board of Housing and Behavioral Health, and I was hired for a brief time as the Homeless Outreach Coordinator for the City of Shelton in 2020 before that position was eliminated. I'm here to speak against an ordinance that was passed by City Council, ordinance number 1977-0921, homeless encampment. I urge the council to strike this ordinance because it is unsafe, ineffective, and inhumane. This is Shelton making the same mistake Boise made in 2009. It is criminalizing homelessness. According to legal precedent from Martin versus Boise, quote, just as the state may not criminalize the state of being homeless in public places, The state may not criminalize conduct that is an unavoidable consequence of being homeless, namely sitting, lying, or sleeping on the streets," end quote. When I left the city of Shelton, I gave the recommendation to City Manager Knighton that the city's role in homelessness should not be homeless outreach. Successful outreach programs need a network of support, knowledge base, and cultural competencies that the city does not have. What you're asking of police and city workers in this ordinance is for them to be outreach workers and case managers without proper training or oversight. You're asking representatives of the city of Shelton to enforce and be the face of this policy when the city has taken an antagonistic stance toward unsheltered people who are the target of this policy. There is already a network of people who work among people who are unsheltered in this community. The city of Shelton needs to have more of a connection to this network than Eric Inesco being on the Mason County Board of Housing and Behavioral Health. Thank you, Eric, by the way, for voting against this policy and for making the suggestion that the city be better connected to this network. Thank you also to Kathy McDowell for voting against it. The way that this ordinance is framed describes itself as compassionate and is anything but. This ordinance is a form of antagonism toward a group of people who already face stigma and discrimination. If you really want to get to work on the issue of homelessness in Shelton, don't give unsheltered people citations for up to $1,000. Don't put unsheltered people in jail. Don't create more barriers than the ones that already exist. I urge the council to reconsider this policy. I believe the city's role in addressing homelessness is not to attack homeless people as it is doing with this ordinance. It is one, to create robust policy to create and regulate affordable housing, and two, to connect with and support the network of people who work with individuals who are unsheltered in this community. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Kathy, for sharing with us this evening. And if you'd be willing to share those comments via email as well, I'm sure the council would be happy to have those to take a look at. Thank you for your time. Are there any other public comments this evening, Donna?
I take a look here. No, there isn't, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you so much. With that, then we'll move on to City Manager Knighton's administration report.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. First, just wanted to say we tried tonight to make the budgeting process a little bit more transparent, a little easier to understand, and I don't think we succeeded. But I think that we will continue to try new things in order to make the budgeting process, particularly the municipal budgeting process, as approachable as possible for people to engage with how we allocate our resources. So just wanted to mention that. A couple other things I wanted to mention on happier notes. We have an opportunity for Shop with a Cop this year, thanks to our partners at Walmart with a very generous donation. That event will take place on December 11th. And our police department is excited to help participate in that, along with our other partners, depending on response with the Mason County Sheriff's Office and potentially the firefighters, which Shop with a Firefighter is probably almost as good as Shop with a Cop. We'll see. We also have wanted to let council know, because I know this has been something that people are a little bit concerned about, given the last several years where we've had several feet of snow, and hopefully that doesn't happen again, but we'll be posting our snow routes on the website and sending out those reminders starting the first week of December, just to make sure that people know where those are and what the priorities look like and those types of things. So when and if that event, if and when, how about that? That event does happen, people will be hopefully aware of the plan and how we're going to approach those types of events. Christmas Town. We have Christmas Town coming up. That is, we'll have the bazaar here in the Civic Center December 3rd through the 5th, and again December 10th through the 12th. And we'll have the lighted tree maze and opportunities for some hot chocolate. The month of December, that will be set up here pretty soon. start toward the end of this month, right after Thanksgiving, and hopefully everybody comes down and enjoys those activities. I'm going to go through the looking ahead real quick, and then I have one last piece of information to share with you all. So next Tuesday, we have an item on the study session agenda regarding the noise ordinance, and that's something that needs a little bit of modification, like several of our municipal codes in the city, in order to be compliant with current state rules. So we'll be going over that with council. On December 7th, we will swear in a new council member for that one single meeting. We also have approving the Conservation District's proposal that you heard about at your last study session regarding education and outreach, and public hearing on illicit stormwater discharge, which is something that we've been working on for quite a while. Addressing the C Street landfill cleanup, along with that open public comment period with the Department of Ecology currently. I hope everybody participates in that and reads the information that's available. And then final acceptance of the paving project that we did a little bit earlier this year on Park Street. And then, of course, you will have the other items that you heard a little bit about tonight: the water meter purchase, the budget supplemental number 2 that's focused on creating those funds so that we make sure that we spend our revenues on the projects that they are restricted and dedicated to fund. And last but not least, we'll be swearing in the new council member on December 7th, because tonight is Councilmember Fease's last council meeting with us. We wanted to say thank you very much from the team here at the city, and I'm sure other council members, and we put together a parting gift for her that when she comes down to sign the last council meeting packet for this meeting tonight, she can pick up with her, along with a few other things. And just wanted to say how much we appreciate her community involvement and participation in helping trying to make Shelton a better place. So thank you very much. And that's all I have, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks.
I want to thank Megan as well for filling in after Mayor Rogers' resignation. It's been a pleasure working with you. Your wealth of knowledge, maybe more than my brain can handle sometimes, but I really appreciated working with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. And thanks, Jeff. And it's been an absolute honor and pleasure to serve alongside you all and on behalf of the citizens of Shelton and beyond. And I just hope that everyone in our community really rallies behind this council and really understands the value that we have in our city staff, and what a great addition that Jeff has been to helping move our community forward. So thank you all very much. And I look forward to a day when I can run again. So this time wasn't my time, but the next time might be.
Well, thank you very much, Councilmember Feast, for your kind words, for your service to the city. It is very much appreciated by all of us.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks.
You're not going far. I know where you are at.
It's true.
Thank you for
It's
everything.
true.
It's been good having you and your insights involved in the process. So thank you for stepping up too. So
Yeah, I learned a lot, and hopefully we'll continue to learn much more from you all. So thank you very much, and thanks for the wonderful plaque and whatnot, Donna, and from your and your team too. So thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. Does council have any new items to add for discussion this evening? All right, seeing none, our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at 6:00 p.m. We also have a study session on November 23rd at 6:00 p.m. unless that has been canceled. We're still on for November 23rd. This meeting is adjourned at 7:04 p.m.
Just a second, hold on. I just have a question for Jeff. Did you find anything out about the parade?
I will find out tomorrow morning, and I will make sure that you all know.
Okay, thank you.
Donna, I'll come down